Hey everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Craig, and this is the Spirit of Vinyl. Hope you guys all had a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in again. I really appreciate it. Basically, I sit here and talk about my record collection. Actually, I only talk about the record collection because, record collections is an entity and a spirit amongst themselves. Mine is telling me, hey, you should do something like this. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. So this week, I want to talk about probably one of the greatest debut albums of all time, and that is The Cars. The Cars' self-titled debut. As you can see, this one is a Japanese pressing from 1978. Looks pretty good. I've got this cover listed as VG Plus, and the only reason I really listed it as VG Plus is if you look down here on the corner, it's got a little ding in it right there. So I don't know if that denotes VG Plus. There's some discoloration right along here. A little bit of discoloration, but besides that, this thing's pretty much near mint. And it has the obi is intact. As you can see, it doesn't have any scrapings or anything on the side. It also came with both inserts. Here's the Japanese insert that comes in all these Japanese pressings that we get. And then this one also has an insert here that's got pictures of the band and all of that with it. And on the back, there's more pictures, track listing. Looks like maybe some, it's got lyrics and track listing and everything else. The album itself, the vinyl itself is very clean, as always. This one here, hopefully you can all see that. It's all shiny and glossy. It's got cool labels on it. It's from Elektra Records. Overall, this is, a very great sounding pressing. All the highs and all the lows and everything are all mixed very well. It sounds wonderful. This is one of the ones that I found in the dumpster. This is one of the ones that was found in the garbage that day when I found all those records. And this thing sounds and looks great. Besides that, what can you say about the Cars? I mean, this album is probably one of the greatest debut albums of all time. It's got hits like crazy on it. Songs that you've heard over and over and over. Good Times Roll, Best Friend's Girl, Just What I Needed, You're All I Got Tonight, Bye Bye Love, Moving in Stereo. What else? There's one more in here. So you've got like 6 out of 9 tracks that are radio hits that are still played to this day. And the thing is about this Cars album and what I wanted to talk about it, like I said, it was one of the ones that was found. And I probably wouldn't have ever bought a Cars album if I was buying my own records. I'm mostly a hard rock and heavy metal guy. And although I do like the Cars, and I do like this album a lot, and it's got a lot of great songs on it, it wouldn't have been something that was in my list. And that's what I want to talk about when I talk about the spirit of vinyl. The reason we have the spirits and the things that drive us is because of these records that we get. So, for example, I picked up this record. Well, I didn't pick up this record. This record was found. And look at that. It's beautiful, right? And then I played it because it's got all these great songs on it. And as I listened to it, I'm like, God damn, they were so fucking good. So I ended up buying everything else by the Cars over the last year or so, buying a little bit here and there. I have copies of them all, of all the Cars albums now. Which wasn't the plan to begin with. First, it's like, okay, that's good. Let's get Candy-O or something like that. Next thing you know, I'm buying them all. And the reason I have all the Cars albums now, and I love the Cars, and I listen to them all the time, is because of this album right here. This album right here that I found is the reason I own the other Cars albums. And that's what vinyl does, and that's what record collecting does. You get a record, somebody gives you a record, or you see something out in the store and it's maybe $5 or $10 and you're going to buy it and you take a chance on it, and then you end up liking that band and liking the way it sounds or whatever, and you buy everything else from it, and the next thing you know, exponential growth tends to happen. That's why I say these things are entities amongst themselves, these record collections. It is an entity amongst itself. This little seed right here called the Cars leads me to buying more and more and more Cars albums until I have them all to complete my collection of Cars music, which is nothing I would ever have done in the past. I was just because it's not heavy enough or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate other music as things go on, and having something like finding all those records helped me to expand my horizons into other genres or other styles of music. And I realize it's still rock and roll, and I realize, that it's not heavy metal, which is what I normally listen to, is some hard rock and heavy metal stuff. But this is really fucking great. Rick Ocasey's got a great voice. The songwriting is great, the production is great, and everything else. This record here, this Japanese pressing, according to Discogs, there's only 13 of them available for sale, and they range anywhere from $40 to like $200. I saw one that was near mint, that was listed as mint and unopened, debut from this time frame, that they have listed for like $200. I saw it. The cheapest one I saw for sale in America was like $14 plus shipping, but it didn't have any obies or inserts or anything else. So I would say with this record, the one I have, if I was to sell it, I'd probably at least ask $60 to $80 for it. I don't know if that's overpriced or not. Also, like I said, I'd like your guys' opinions. Is this little ding here enough, and this little one here enough to call it VG plus, or is this a near mint record cover? I forgot the record itself listed as near mint. Obviously, there's no pops, there's no skips, there's no scratches. It's shiny. It looks as good as the day it was probably opened back in '76. This is from Japan, and I know, like I said, the guy who had the record collection that I found before me was a military man, obviously, with Japanese and German pressings and European and UK and stuff like that. So it's been all over the place. Found in Tennessee, which is where I live now. The story of this record is beyond my mind. Did the guy buy it when it first came out in '76 and I find it in 2022 or whatever, or 2021? You got to think about that. It's a long time and a lot of miles for this record to have traveled, and for me to find in a garbage can, essentially, and still be in mint condition and very good plus condition on the sleeve. Plus, all the inserts and everything is no creases, no folds, or nothing. It's amazing to me that this thing found its way to me. And that's why ultimately why I talk about these records on here. And if you look at the YouTube channel and all that stuff, it kind of explain a little bit, but whatever. This is just you and me talking now. And that's kind of how I'm going to go about this. The first few videos I've been doing was trying something else, and I'm trying to find myself a little bit more. And I know that maybe this isn't what some people want, but I don't really care, because my record collection is telling me to talk to you guys about the records that are in the collection and what they mean to me and what they mean to the collection. And what this Cars album right here means to this collection in the beginning was one Cars album. What it means to the record collection now, to the Spirit of Vinyl collection, is all Cars albums are in the collection now because of this one. This one was found, I listened to it, it was beautiful sounding, the press is great, so I started buying other ones, and now I have them all. And I enjoy every single one of them, and we can go more into depth on the other records later as time goes on. So the spirit of this record to me, these Cars albums, these songs were iconic, and this album has been iconic basically since day one. And me growing up and coming of age in the '80s, we had the Cars, we had Drive and those videos, and they were very popular, and Shake It Up and stuff like that. This is a little previous to that album, but they were always kind of around. So when I got into music, the Cars kind of always existed. This came out in '76. I was a kid. I was 7 or 8 years old when this album first came out. I had no idea. As I got into music in my teen years, of course, we were aware of the Cars. They were all over MTV. And they were good. And it was different. It wasn't hard rock and heavy metal. It was more of I guess you'd call it a new wave mixed with some punk type, some of that early type music. But very well recorded and very well done. And like I said, I put this album up there as a debut album, especially for their style as one of the great debut albums of all time, along with Appetite for Destruction and Black Sabbath, and those type of albums that are great debuts that change music. And I really think the Cars did change music. So me, the spirit of this vinyl and this collection is this vinyl starts the whole thing with the Cars for me. And the Cars themselves did help change music and bring that style that some of those bands were doing at the time and kind of bring it to the forefront. We had the Cars and we have Blondie and stuff like that that was kind of bringing that new wave sound to America. And of course, later the floodgates open in the 80s and we get all that new wave music coming over from England. So I feel like the Cars are one of the pioneers of their style of music, and that's why I love it. And I love, it's got great lyrics and it's got great sound. Who doesn't love the Cars, right? I mean, some people don't. I get it, but I really enjoy it. And thanks to this one record, I now have all of the other Cars records, all 5 of them, because this one was found in the garbage. And it changed part of the way I listen to music. And that's the spirit of this record for me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and like and subscribe, or don't. I'll see you guys all next week. I want to thank you once again for tuning in and watching. I really, really appreciate it. This has been The Spirit of Vinyl. My name is Craig, and I'll talk to you all next week.